Today is a very, very special day. We're going to apply for the Bike Shed Show in London 2024 with the BMW. It doesn't mean that we get in, but it would be a super, super nice finish to the project, experiencing the show again, meeting some of you, finishing the project off with something big. It does scare me, not because we might not get in, but rather because it's a final deadline. And my track record with the deadlines for the BMW isn't particularly promising. I'm gonna go to the States on Saturday for 2 weeks, and after that, it means all effort on this. There's still quite a few things that we have to do: the wiring, the powder coating, the upholstery, the engine kind of check, and doing some minor things. We're going to increase the stakes quite drastically, and I'm going to walk you through the whole application process because I think it might be interesting if you want to submit your bike this year or next year, just to see what it's like. And hopefully then, fingers crossed, we're going to get in. Would be so nice. So let's go. So you first go to the Bike Shed website, then you go to show and bike submission. There are actually 3 categories of bike builds. The first one is the shed build, which is literally this. You sit in your shed and you grind away and do everything yourself, apart from maybe like paint or a few other things. Then there's pro or semi-pro, where you have a professional shop and you build this bike for the show or for a customer. And then the last one is classified, which is actually a new selection for this year, which is a small limited amount of curated classified machines. So I guess we are in the shed build category. First you just enter your name, email and phone number, and then it's go time for the bike. Classification, shed build, shop name. I don't have a shop name because I'm not a pro or semi-pro. The make is a BMW R80-7 from 1978, so almost 40 years old, which is crazy. Next up, we have the bike's name, and this was something I had to think about for a while because I wanted something that had character but also wasn't too cringe or cliche. I wanted something that represents the journey and also is well suited for the bike. So the name that I chose in the end is Pathfinder, and it resonates a lot with me because it really represents the journey that I went through with the bike. It has taught me so many valuable lessons and I've learned so many skills while building it. But I think it also really suits the bike with the scrambler off-road inspired vibe. You can cruise through the city, but you can also leave the beaten path behind and explore new ones. So Pathfinder it is. Next up, we have the social media or contact, which I'm obviously gonna do, Motor Ventures on YouTube. And after that, it's onto a brief description of what you've done to the bike. And this was a good moment for me to just sit back and reflect on everything that has happened, because I'm already 3 years into this project, and sometimes I tend to forget how far I've already come because I'm just looking at the projects ahead of myself. So I sat down with a pen and paper and just wrote down what has happened. And the funny thing is, the first 2 years don't appear in this form. For me, this journey started when I was 14, 15. I was working on my motocross bike back then, which was constantly broken. And a lot of people in my environment told me, don't do it, like you're gonna break more than you're gonna repair. And that solidified a fear of wrenching on bikes, which always triggered me, and I really wanted to overcome this fear. So I've applied at 30 motorcycle workshops for an apprenticeship, which is like a 2 or 3 year period where they teach you everything you need to know and you work for a small salary. I really wanted to do that, but all of those 30 declined me. And I was devastated. They all said, you're overqualified, you've already studied, you're just gonna take our knowledge and then leave. And I can't really blame them for that because they were probably right, but it was another setback. I was very down for like 3-4 days until I got up and I was like, I can't let this happen again. I can't let outside circumstances solidify a fear in myself of something that I actually really want to do. And then I remembered my old bike. I was like, okay, now I'm ready. I'm gonna do something good for you and I'm gonna do something good for myself. And I restored the bike and I took it completely apart, rebuilt everything. And that gave me the confidence to then do a custom build. Well, I didn't know at that point that it would be so different and that I had actually no idea how to build a custom bike. But what I've learned in the restoration was that I can teach myself. I can learn the things that I need to learn, even though it might be hard, but it is learnable. It's not this mysterious thing, oh, an engine or oh, a suspension, whatever. It's all learnable. So I drove down to the south of Germany at the end of 2020 and I bought this BMW, which I fell in love with on my first test ride. I've never ridden one before, and I started the engine, and at idle you can feel the power of the airhead, the cylinders punching out to each side, the whole bike is shaking. The first few weeks went quite smooth. I ordered a bunch of parts, I've spent hours looking online for the right parts, and then I started to take the BMW apart to see the line. Yeah, and then I noticed, oh shit, like I don't actually know how to build a custom bike. There were so many things that I didn't know, and I didn't know where to start. It's like, I don't know if you've ever played Age of Empires. You have this character on the map, but you only see a tiny portion of the map. The rest is covered in fog. That's how I felt. So you have to start wandering and start discovering the map. And like that, it took me 2 years to get to the point where I actually understood what I had to do to progress. And that was learning how to TIG weld. It was now end of 2022, 2 years later, I have finished 2 master's degrees, and I had to make a very difficult decision. Either go and get a high-paying job with my education, or take a huge risk, take out a loan, and make this dream of becoming custom bike builder and making YouTube videos for you guys become a reality. Taking out this loan was probably the scariest but also best thing that I've done, because it has increased the pressure dramatically, but with that also the focus. So New Year's Eve 2022, I sat down and wrote down a few New Year's Eve resolutions. I'm normally not a big guy of those things, but at that point it felt right. And one of those things was, I want to learn how to TIG weld. From the 1st of January 2023, I sat down every day for 3 months and learned how to TIG weld. I've enrolled in an online course from the Pacific Arc TIG Welding channel. Dusty has helped me a ton to go through the program, and this enabled me to actually start fabricating my own parts, and it has changed my journey so much. So let's see what I've done to the bike. You have to be very precise in this form because you have 760 characters, so not much. I've categorized the different things that I've done to it or that I've added to the bike. So let's start with fabrication. With the help of my good friend Nickel, we have shortened the rear frame, and after that I have built a fitting custom seat base that still needs to be upholstered. Then I have lowered the front forks, custom fabricated fenders, brackets and mounts. Here I had to really reduce what I would put in there, because I couldn't say custom rear fender, which I had to change 3 times, custom front fender, brake fluid reservoir bracket, the bracket for the ultra butt, and all of those things. But it's okay, I think they get the point. Then I've turned the custom fork sleeves, which was a very nice project. After that we have the next category, which is suspension upgrades. I'm gonna install the Wirt progressive fork springs in the front, and then in the rear we have YSS rear shocks. Onto the handlebar setup, I've upgraded the front brake master cylinder to a Brembo PS16 in all black with a custom little bracket. The throttle assembly is from Tomaselli, and then we run motor gadget switches, mirrors and indicators. The electrical system will get a complete rewire with high quality components. We're going to use the M unit as the brain of the operations. Then the Deutsch pin and Mizu P25 connectors. Reduce wire sizes wherever possible, so we have the most sleekest wiring loom possible. And then I've just received the TechFlex braided sleeving, so it gets this high quality look at the end. One major upgrade to the electrical system, apart from the wiring simplicity, is the Vape digital ignition and charging system, which I'm very excited about. If you're interested in that, I'm going to link you a video right here where I've built all of the mounts for it. Then we're going to have all new lights and indicators. Had to be nice and precise there. In the front we have the Bates style 5 3/4 inch headlight and the motor gadget bar end indicators, and in the back we have 3-in-1 indicators. After that we get to a very special part, which is the Mass Motor 2-in-2 hot rod exhaust, which I'm very excited about to hear for the first time. I can't wait until the BMW finally runs. And then we have the paint or powder coat, which obviously still needs to be done, but the basic idea is that all the parts are gonna be black, apart from the gas tank and the engine, which say original. I feel like those 2 parts tell the history of the bike, which is now almost 40 years. The gas tank with its bright blue color and all the little imperfections. And then the airhead engine is such a unique engine that I don't want to hide any of the nice forms in all black color, because you can really tell with the fenders that they kind of hide. And that was the idea of the whole concept, but I don't want to do that to the engine. After that, we move on to the seat, which still needs to be professionally upholstered. And lastly, it's just a little info about the engine, which just needs to be checked and then thoroughly cleaned. So that is the description of the bike and what I've done to it. Quite a lot that has changed, On the next page, which is already the last page, you're supposed to upload a maximum of 5 images of your bike from as many angles as possible, and each image must be under 2 megabytes. So I looked through all of my images of the BMW, and since I have basically just filmed everything, I never really took any good pictures, so we quickly need to take a few. What I want to do, I need 4 more pictures. I have already one from this side that I've manipulated with Photoshop to make it kind of look like the final product where all of the parts are already black. You're going to see that in a second. So I need 4 more from different angles, and I actually took pictures right after I bought the BMW in like a parking garage that I really like, and I want to just recreate the angles. It's obviously a little bit harder in the shed, especially here with this wall, or with all of the walls being so chaotic. The contours of the bike kind of blend into the background and it's very hard to distinguish. But this also gives it character and it shows that I've built it here. So all right, with that, I think we have a good selection of shots. We have the first one, which is the color mock-up, where you can see how it might look in the end, with all the parts being black apart from the tank and the engine. And then we have the front side shot, which I feel like has a nice look to it, and a back side shot from kind of like the same level as the bike. And then I've added another one from the back sides, but a little bit higher up to show the rear fender a little bit more. And then lastly, we have kind of a fun one, which is the thumbnail that I've used for the license plate bracket. And I just wanted to add that to, I don't know, show my face and just make the application a little bit more unique. Not just bike, 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 because I think they're gonna get a lot of those, but this one might stick out a little bit. Now let's upload those, and you have to be careful that you get those in the right order if you have a specific order. There we go, nice. Okay, thank you for submitting your bike to the 2024 Bike Shed Motor Show. And if you want to submit another bike, then you can. But I'm happy if I get this one done in time. So if you want to follow along for this probably more hectic part of the build, then hit the subscribe button. And if you want to catch up with all of the projects that already have been done, I'm going to link you the playlist right here. As always, thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for all of your support. I'm going to see you in the next one.